Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of September 23rd, and we have quite the week ahead of us. It is definitely a front-loaded week in terms of the astrology, and we have quite the red flag aspect taking place this week involving Mars and Pluto. Mars and Pluto coming into a square this week, and that brings along some more risky, dangerous energies with it. So something to take care of as you're moving through the week, the Mars activities. We'll talk about that and the rest of the astrology of the week during the report today. But things to know just as we are moving into the energies of the week. Okay, we have made it through the eclipse portal. Whew, those eclipses were massive. We started off with the full moon in Pisces and then ended it with our second new moon in Virgo of the month. So these themes in Virgo really coming in strong all last week and really coming to the culmination point during that solar eclipse, Virgo new moon over the weekend. So hope that went well for everyone. You were able to get into the Virgo themes. Purging, detoxing, letting things go, releasing the old. We had the South Node there during the new moon. South Node is all about places in our life that we are trying to walk away from, things we're trying to leave behind. So that was the work over the course of that new moon. And of course, Pisces is all about surrender. So you work with this Pisces Virgo axis and you get a lot of surrender, letting go, completion points to allow for the new beginnings to come in. Also, we have the cosmic lovers, Venus and Mars, had them in a mutual reception. And so this means that we have these two planets, Venus and Mercury in mutual reception. And that means these two planets are in each other's signs and they're supporting each other. Venus is our heart. And Mercury is our mind. And so the mind and the heart very much supporting each other on the same page, empowering each other, our communications, and making sure that these communications and thoughts, Mercury, are indeed lining up with how we are feeling and our internal passions. That's Venus. So also Mars has moved into a new sign. Mars is in Scorpio. So that leads us into the report for the week. Mars is not a totally slow-moving planet. It takes about 2 months for Mars to make it through a sign. So every 2 months, we get a change of energy to Mars themes. What are Mars themes? Mars rules our physical body. Mars rules our warrior spirit. It's also just how we get things in the world, how we take action in the world to get from point A to point B, get these things that we desire. Mars is a very instinctual type of energy, likes to take action first and sort of think about things later. So Mars is, leaping forward here into a new energy out of Libra into Scorpio. And Scorpio is the traditional ruler of Mars. So Mars is very strong here. Mars is bringing in a fighting warrior, aggressive, irritable spirit to Scorpio, ready to fight for Scorpio themes. And Scorpio themes are deep. And they are sometimes dark and they're sometimes mysterious. Scorpio is like everything that is down underneath the earth in the dark places. So our physical body diving into these deep, dark places to take on these battles in our lives, in the greater community. We can see this happening in our personal lives. You can see this within relationships because Mars is definitely involved in how we go about our relationships. We could see how the masculine energy is working differently in relationships and in terms of other things in life. So on September 23rd, this front-loaded week starts with Mars in conjunct to Neptune. This is at that 1 degree point of Scorpio. Mars comes in and says, hello, every other planet that's sitting right around the 1 degree point. What are we doing here? What are we working on? And how can I interplay with this? So Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, and we'll include Saturn at 28 degrees of Pisces because that's close enough to the 1 degree point of Aries. So we've got lots of interplay with these outer planets on Tuesday, the 23rd. And that is like the physical body coming into a reality check with this minor grand trine of these outer planets that are changing the structures of the world. They're changing the structures of the way that we live our lives. So many things over the course of the last year and the next year are changing in massive ways. And that's because these outer planets, in terms of the astrology, these outer planets have all moved into new signs. Outer planets are the slow-moving ones: Pluto, Uranus, Neptune. And when they move out of signs into new signs, they bring on these new energies. And it doesn't happen all the time when all of these planets do it at the same time. So this is a very rare moment. And we're seeing all of these outer planets actually supporting each other during these big, massive changes that are coming in over the last year and over the next year. It does take time for these outer planets to move forward. And then they must take time to also retrograde and move back over old territories. And that's what we're seeing these outer planets do. So when Mars comes in on Tuesday, the 23rd, says hello to all these other planets, it comes into a physical reality check. Like, hey, things are changing. What can I physically do to guide this and support this and sit with this and allow this to take place? How am I going to let my warrior spirit work and support in this and not fight against it, right? So then also on the 23rd, the sun is going to also move into the 1 degree point of Libra. So Libra, it's sparks off our fall equinox. Happy fall to everybody. When the sun moves into Libra, that initiates a new season. And in the northern hemisphere, we begin fall. And in the southern hemisphere, we begin spring. And no matter what, you get this Libra equinox. And the Libra point is all about balance and harmony. And so we move into a new month with the sun moving into Libra, a new season. It's Libra season. It's the month of Libra. And at this 1 degree point, saying hello to these big structural changes. The sun is our identity. So we could be seeing parts of our identity finally having some awareness and coming into the same kind of reality check that Mars has come into at this 1 degree point. So this is creating also a big grand trine with the air signs at 1 degree of all the air signs. So if you have, if you are in tune with your own astrological birth chart, and you can look and see what is at 1 degree of basically any sign, but do you have anything at 1 degree of the air signs? Because this is being supported. This is coming into a point of harmony. The sun in Libra hitting this 1 degree point and saying, I'm going to bring some balance to this. And our identity, our ego, us on a personal level, we're going to feel it and we're going to be aware of it. There is a lot of distortion that can take place with the air signs too, because they can be talkers and they can be thinkers, and it can be a little bit over the top, even when it comes to talking, thinking, sharing ideas, and moving through themes. This front-loaded week is bringing us all of this very, very intense yet supportive energy. A grand trine is definitely meant to make things happen quickly. You get the support to see something through. And so this kind of depends on what you have at these 1 degree points of these air signs. Is there something challenging in the chart? I mean, what is there? Well, there is something massive here at the 1 degree point also, and that is the square between Mars and Pluto. This is a red flag. This is like risky business this week. Everyone must be aware that when we have the square with Mars and Pluto, that it can be destructive. It can be very challenging. It can be violent. It can be very, very permanent changes. It can be injuries even. You could see, deep-throated and deeply bound emotional and physical transformations taking place, but not shy of putting energy towards that, because Mars is here, and because it's a square, we are going to be asked to take action. And a square with Pluto is all about transformation. It's all about change. It's about a permanent, fixed, permanent fix for change for the future. And there is no debating that. And Mars is, of course, the warrior that's going to come through and make sure it happens. So this square highlighting the week, and it's not just the square between Mars and Pluto, because on the 24th, this actual square takes place on September 24th, and the moon is going to move into Scorpio, which means it is crossing over the 1 degree point where Mars is, and where Mars is making this square to Pluto. So Wednesday, the 24th, this week is the day to really pay attention to what you're doing and what type of mood, that's the moon, what type of Scorpio mood that we get flipped into. And Scorpio is deep. Scorpio is about, these really transformative, emotional, spiritual places. Scorpio goes deep and cuts deeply, because Scorpio is also the sign of deep transformation. Mars is the traditional ruler, and we can see how when Mars wants something to happen, it happens. They shoot first, ask questions later. That's very Scorpio for that transformative aspect to be ruled by Mars. But the ruler now, today, in terms of the astrology, is Pluto. Pluto rules the sign of Scorpio now, and Pluto has become the planet of complete and utter transformation. Even Pluto itself was transformed from a planet into a planetoid. And you know what? We're finding out that there are so many planetoids out there out around the realms of Pluto and beyond in the Kuiper belt. And so these asteroids and these planetoids, they carry a lot of power with them. And Pluto rules Scorpio. When the moon moves into Scorpio, we are all ruled by the Pluto mood. We're ready to burn it down so that we can rebuild it. But Pluto is that energy. It's destruction. You've got to get rid of it before you can build the new thing. And Pluto and Scorpio and Mars energy, all of this, it's all about the endings to allow space for the new beginnings, because there's always more. You open up the windows during this grand trine in air on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, it's like things have settled and we are left to deal with whatever it is and deal with the transformative aspect around it on Wednesday. And then on September 25th, the moon in Scorpio is going to be coming into sextile trine with the nodes of destiny. So this makes Thursday a very destined day. Whatever is shaking up and spinning around and blowing around in the wind and becoming distorted and landing, during this time on the 24th, landing in its place during the square with Mars and Pluto. It's almost like if whatever didn't need to take place on Tuesday didn't take place, then on Wednesday it certainly will be forced into play. And then on Thursday we get to say, okay, all of this is destined and it's fated, right? I wrote this script before I came in to this life, and now I am only seeing it play out. So there is a destined aspect to Thursday, and it's big because the moon's also in a sextile with Jupiter, which just amplifies things, exaggerates things, makes things feel very, very big and over the top. So Thursday, an over-the-top, fateful, destined day. And then on Friday, the 26th of September, we get the moon moving out of Scorpio into a new sign, Sagittarius. It's a much-needed movement. We have plenty of Scorpio energy with this front-loaded week and the Mars moving into the first degree of Scorpio there, and all the interplay that the Sagittarius moon reminds us to be adventurous and take on the adventure with gusto, have energy for it, be excited. Sagittarius is about excitement and finding an exhilaration, and the energy that it takes to push through and be enthusiastic about whatever's happening. And however things have worked out during the beginning parts of the week, Sagittarius moon says, take it on like an adventure. You are your own biggest adventure and project, that you will ever have in your life. So take it on with gusto. And the moon comes into Sagittarius and touches on that 1 degree point. We have so much at the 1 degree point, with the sun recently moving into Libra, Mars and Scorpio, and then all of the outer planets at the 1 degree points of their signs, that we feel it again. We feel it on Friday when that moon moves into Sagittarius, and then we take it on like a project, like an adventure, like a Sagittarius moon does. Saturday, the 27th, we have a square with Venus, and it's the only aspect of the day with the moon square Venus. Very, very quiet day on Saturday and Thursday for that matter, even though I think Thursday is going to feel a bit amplified and over the top just because of the Jupiter energy. Thursday is a little more quiet. Saturday is a little more quiet. Saturday is the quietest day of the week. This is the day that we find time to finally retreat and take care of ourselves in a way that needs to be, because the moon square Venus can definitely make us feel like we can't find our pleasures. So Saturday, if it's not working out, just not finding pleasurable, it's just not feeling good, that's like the moon square Venus. It will pass. And on September 28th, we have Mercury coming into an inconjunct with the North Node. And it's kind of an irritable energy. And Mercury is our mental state. So on Sunday, we could feel a bit irritable to the to the way things are shaking out. The North Node is all about the direction we're trying to head and things that want to come into our life. And, astrologically speaking, universally speaking of this cosmic intelligence that we're trying to tap into, studying the astrology here, the North Node is like where you are destined to go in life. And Mercury, our thoughts are going to be intertwining with this, and we're going to be just sitting with this. And in conjunct is 5 signs apart, and it's just kind of like, okay, so I got this information and now I must sit with it. And then on the 29th of September, we get the moon moving into Capricorn. Capricorn is a much more ambitious type of energy. With the moon in Capricorn, we can take on projects. We can get things done off of our to-do list. We can build structurally things that we need to build in terms of our life for the future. Capricorn's all about how we build our legacy moving into the future and our career, our work. And we just get very ambitious in Capricorn. And then this also brings the day, Monday 29th, the opening square. So that is with the sun. The moon moves, from the sun back to the sun every 28 and a half days. And so when we get the opening square, you get that first week, and we get our first look at what type of challenges, what type of activity, what type of themes that we need to be pursuing during this lunar cycle, during this new moon in Virgo solar eclipse cycle, which we'll still be working with for the next 2 weeks. We're still going to be doing Virgo themes. We're going to be cleaning up, detoxing, organizing, planning, becoming whole in ourselves again. And quite frankly, coming to a reality that we can't do everything for everybody, or else it does have an effect on our lives too, because Virgo can be an overworker. So take care of yourself. Make sure that you are serving yourself as well as serving your greater community and your families and your, the groups that you're involved in, because we need to be whole in ourselves, to be our best version of ourselves, to bring out for others. And that is what Libra season is going to ask us to do. It's going to ask us to bring out our best for others in our relationships, in our one-on-one relations, in our friendships, and in our business relationships. And we'll talk more, of course, next time I'm around here in the Cosmic Community Astrology. This has been the Galactic Ambassador, Stacey Dredd. I appreciate you so much being tuned in, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Talk to you soon. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.